What's up, everybody? So, conspiracy theory time. Let's talk more about the Baltimore Ravens and the Las Vegas Raiders and the trade that did not happen for Max Crosby. So, obviously, tonight the big news is that Max Crosby is not going to the Baltimore Ravens. Of course, just a few days ago, both sides agreed on a deal to send 2 first-round picks from Baltimore to Las Vegas to acquire Max Crosby. That deal is no longer happening. The Ravens have reportedly said it's because of a medical issue. Diana Rossini said there was a failed physical, something in there, something with the physical that did not satisfy their wants that they were looking for, and that trade has now been backed off and it's done. Here's my theory. Now, I've heard nobody say this. This is totally just my own thoughts. I have not heard anybody say this. If I'm wrong, hey, great, but this is just my opinion. The timing of this is very interesting. This is a very interesting time that this move has happened, that the backing off this trade occurred. Let's backtrack a little bit. A couple days ago, they make this trade. Max Crosby's going to the Baltimore Ravens for 2 first-round picks. And, okay, great. Yesterday, first day of free agency, Baltimore loses their starting center, Linderbaum. He goes to the Raiders. The Raiders make him the highest paid center in the NFL history. By a long shot. By a long shot. Crushing the previous record held by Creed Humphrey of the Chiefs. Now, the Ravens reportedly offered Linderbaum also the highest paid contract for center in NFL history. And the Raiders went in there and completely broke the market. They broke the market. They broke the bank to get Linderbaum. Now, great signing. Great signing. Linderbaum has been an excellent center, and he is well worth the money. However, driving home from work yesterday, I had an NFL radio on. I was listening to Pat Kerwin. He was talking about this situation. And he talked about the fact that there are going to be many teams in this league who are furious with the Raiders. They're going to be furious that the Raiders broke the market for offensive linemen. They're going to be furious that they paid the money that they did to Linderbaum, completely resetting the market, because that's what it did. The Ravens were offering the highest contract ever for a center, for an offensive lineman. And the Raiders came in there and blew it out of the water, completely crushed it. That was yesterday. And Pat Kerwin on the show said he feels like that's going to really anger a lot of teams in the NFL. They're not going to be happy with the Raiders. Fast forward 24 hours later, today. Word comes out, the Baltimore Ravens are off of this deal. They are backing out of it. They are not interested in Max Crosby for some sort of a medical reason. Now, we know that Max Crosby had surgery in January on his knee. We know that. They knew that. Everybody knew that. What possibly could they have seen in this physical? Now, mind you, he's injured. His agent has said that. His agent has said he's actually ahead of schedule. What could they have seen in the last 24 hours in that physical that made them so scared that they backed out of this deal entirely, making every team in this league, or a lot of teams in this league, furious at them? Because there were teams that were interested in Max Crosby, that wanted Max Crosby, that couldn't get Max Crosby. And now, Max Crosby's back on the table, but it's too late. Because these teams have already pivoted, they've made moves, and now they can't go out and get Max Crosby like they wanted to. What could they have seen in that physical that could have been so bad? Now, I'm no doctor. Maybe there was something in that physical that was really damning. Maybe there was something that really scared them, and they said, whoa, we got to back off this. Maybe. Or maybe Baltimore is paying a little bit of payback to the Raiders for the Linderbaum signing. It's not, to me, it's not coincidental. It's not coincidental that one day before the Raiders go out and sign Linderbaum to a record-shattering contract, which a lot of teams would be very upset by, resetting the whole market for offensive linemen. They don't like that. These owners, they do not like when teams do that. It would not surprise me. I know how these teams work. I know how petty they can be. I know how vindictive they can be. I believe that the Baltimore Ravens backed off of this move tonight to spite the Raiders, to show them, you know what? You thought you had this deal lined up. we'll take our 2 first-round picks back. We'll take those back, and we'll leave you with this Max Crosby situation now. Good luck. Good luck finding a trade as good as ours. Good luck finding a deal that would give you anything what we gave you. Especially now, because all these other guys are off the market. All these other pieces have been moved. Good luck. All because you had to come in there and break the market, break the bank for Linderbaum. You could have had Linderbaum. I don't think they're upset about losing Linderbaum. They might be, because again, they're petty. Sometimes they are. But I think it's the way that the Raiders went about it. I think it's the fact that the Raiders went out and reset the market. I think that the Ravens are getting back at the Raiders for this. I think that they are saying, you know what? The heck with you guys. We're going to pull this deal. Good luck. We'll take our first-round picks. And I would not be surprised to see the Ravens go out and get Trey Hendrickson at this point, who's still out there, who is also a very good player. He's older, but he's also going to be cheaper, and you don't have to give up 2 first-round picks for him. That's my opinion. I believe the Baltimore Ravens are doing this purely out of spite, purely because they weren't happy with how the Linderbaum situation unfolded, and they said, you know what, we'll take our 2 first-round picks, we'll go out and get Trey Hendrickson or somebody else, and you guys have good luck. Good luck figuring that situation out, because Max Crosby does not want to be a Raider, and they really don't want him to be a Raider at this point. So that's my hot take. That's my controversial conspiracy theory. Tell me if you think I'm crazy. If you think I'm a loony, tell me. Let me know in the comments. If you think I'm spot on, I want to hear it too. Let me know. I love the feedback. I love the engagement. So those are my thoughts. Thanks for watching, everybody, and have a good one.